Good evening, ladies and gentlemen and fellow councillors. Welcome to our planning meeting. Just to remind you that this meeting is being recorded by the Town Council. Please note that the recording device is sensitive and the recording cannot be edited. So do not say anything you do not want to be recorded. If necessary, I will direct all recording in the room to be stopped. But generally, I want to avoid doing that. So we will normally record everything except any items taken in closed session. Members of the public will also make their own recording, but must follow our rules for doing so, including stopping recording when requested. Thank you. Before we start our agenda proper, at our last planning meeting, we had a gentleman who became slightly agitated. Yes, that's the word. I've since had a letter from this gentleman from Flint Cottage, 21 Bumstead Road, and he said, "Dear Mrs. Martin, I sincerely apologise for my very rude behaviour at your planning meeting. Would you please pass on my most sincere apologies to the planning committee? Yours sincerely, KG Dobinson." I think that's accepted. Right, item 1 on our agenda is apologies for absence.
We have apologies from Councillor Gary Stroud.
Item 2, declaration of pecuniary interest and request for dispensation. None received. Thank you. Item 3, minutes of the previous meeting. To approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of December. Item 4, matters arising from the minutes. To note action taken and outstanding from items in the minutes on the 2nd of December. Yes,
The clarification on page 156096, which is the top item, P14090, the clerk has mapped the neighbouring parishes and contact details. Clare Town Council has expressed an interest in being included. Can I ask for clarification whether the North East development is in Haverhill or largely in Little Rackham?
Largely with Latin, isn't it?
That's what I thought.
that's what we just want to. Right, so if I start at 155 and 156, the Councillor Gillian has raised that question about parish boundaries. Okay. Item 5. Members of the public to speak on planning applications before this committee. Okay. Item 6. Planning applications which are currently before St Edmundsbury Borough Council. List A. And the first one on your agenda is Environmental Impact Assessment Regulation 2011, proposed development of approximately 2,500 residential units, local employment uses, education, community and leisure facilities, public open space and recreation facilities in land north-east of Haverhill known as Great Millsy Farm. And the applicant is Hallam Land Management and Mrs. Pelly. And the location, as I've said, is Great Millsy Farm. Yes. Yes.
I've noticed they haven't mentioned the health centre on this bit, whereas they had in the previous meeting. Yes, but it was on the list that they presented to us, but it's not on here.
Right, okay.
Well, it's not on the health centre.
It comes under community.
Does it come under minutes either? Because I've got doubts about that.
Yeah. Anybody else have anything to say on this application?
Chair, this is an environmental report. This is sort of the starting of things in that area. And it looks fine to me to what I see with it. I can't see any problem with that. So,
Barry.
Also, I don't agree with our councillor over there. I think the road system, what was spoken about quite a lot last week, is going to create more problems. Look at the problems we've got in this town. For 30 years for trying to sort the roads out. And that's the time to get that infrastructure right. You've got one road coming into Chalkston Way and one going in onto the A143, 86. Sorry? No, I thought this was we're not discussing this at all. I apologise if I've got my fingers crossed.
This is the environmental impact assessment regulation.
Yes, effectively this is that they've written out the scope of what they intend including in the environmental impact
Which is what we had in the meeting last week.
No, that was completely separate. I think that was just briefing us on what they were, on how far their plans have gone. That will come out in terms of the.
I thought they said on the letter, on the bit that they sent, to maybe persuade them in their views. Or I thought we had to put our views, representing the people of the town, that they've got the basic plan, and just of the idea, like you saw, like they said, we've got a health centre there and 2 schools here and we would have park there. But the road structure was absolutely abhorrent. So if we just say, oh yeah, everything's okay, and what Ray's at now, does that mean those roads are going to be put in like that?
No, it's just this is an environmental scope.
Yeah.
So
It's not a planning application.
It's not right.
This is about door lines.
Yes, we will certainly have plenty of time to do that in the future when it comes back as an outline planning application.
Chair, can I direct Councillor Robbins to paragraph 4.3.8 on the scope of the report itself. I'm afraid it doesn't have page numbers.
4.3.8, there we are. Mark has got it. Yeah.
Highway access
Can you see that?
to the site will be set out in detail, will be a matter for the planning application. Highway and main additional access locations of each parcel will be defined but not set out in detail, so as not to fetter the detailed design of each parcel. That's saying basically they're not putting for roads at the moment, they're suggesting that's a matter for the main planning application.
When it comes forward,
So if there is nothing in here that
Apologies for my ignorance, I just assumed that you put the infrastructure in before you build the houses.
Yeah.
Rather silly thing to think that, isn't
In
it?
theory.
Yeah, that is exactly what will happen. But this is to make sure that when they start doing all that work, they haven't trampled the wildlife.
Which there are plenty of larks and all sorts of things.
So yeah, no comment.
Yeah, as far as no comment.
okay.
Item 2, planning application, change of use of and conversion of Church Hall to 3 dwellings, Class 3C, Old Independent Church, United Reformed Church, Hamlet Road. No, we did have this on.
Yes, they withdrew it and have brought it back in. I have to be honest to say that I've struggled to see quite what the changes, if there are any, actually are. We had no issue last time, we understood problems at hand.
Chair?
Yeah.
If I can rightly help, I think they've cut the amount of rooms from, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's from 5 to 3. Not the dwellings, that's it, that's what I'm looking for. The amount of dwellings they've cut down. Because I think they were going to do something with the inside bit of it, so it's going to alter it. But I think that's what they've done. I remember right when I looked on the internet.
Just bear with us for a moment, we'll have a check. The last meeting, didn't we?
Because I think it's 2 1-bedrooms and 1 3-bedroom. What I read.
That must be the change, because it says 2 3-numbered dwellings in this
I
application.
think the last one was 5.
Yeah.
But I
I'm just trying
can't
to
be
find it.
certain.
We can't count it at the moment. I can't read it up again. We're not November. I think it would be November. Did it come up in November?
I can't remember.
About November time, I think. Yeah. You got it? Oh, right, we got it.
It was 3 dwellings in this time, wasn't it?
No, it
It
was
was
3.
3, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you
I
said
apologise.
Can I just make a comment?
The
The church-
church.
The church doesn't have any funds to do the conversion work they need to do to the church, and they're banking on getting planning permission for this hall, so they can sell the hall with planning consent to give them the sums they need to put the church facilities in the church and the disabled access to the church. So, for me, I think if the church is to survive, they really need planning permission.
What was our comments last time? Can you remember?
Thinking straight back to the
Sorry. Sorry, okay.
Was it 4?
We get people from the church coming in.
Yeah, we did. Into October. This is it, yeah.
We supported
Yeah,
it.
that was all we said, was we supported it, yeah.
Why that was supported this time.
Yeah.
Chair, I draw the attention of the committee to the only significant difference between this application and the previous one is the English Heritage letter. And the recommendation of English Heritage, which is slightly different to before, says, while the proposed changes to the interior of the listed church hall and alteration of external fenestration would result in a degree of harm to its historic and architectural significance, we would not, on balance, wish to object to the current application. And I think that's the substance of what we're being asked to look at the moment. English Heritage say on balance and would not object. There were concerns expressed by the committee before about the heritage aspects of the community.
But we did support it. So, yeah? Yeah, support.
Yeah.
Item 3, planning application, garage extension, single-storey side and rear extension following demolition of existing conservatory, and this is 8 Langham Way. This comes as P action.
CV97FJ.
What was that one?
Existing.
They're extending the garage, a single-storey side extension and rear extension, and they're demolishing an existing conservatory.
That's the existing. That's the. So as you can see, the conservatory in the back is a small thing. Looking at the bottom left-hand picture, moving across, it becomes a rather larger concern.
The only comment I would make is if they're doing away with the garage, if they've got adequate parking afterwards.
Sure.
Garage extension. Yes.
They're extending the garage to make
Yeah,
it big
garage.
enough for modern cars, which is something we're not unfamiliar with. and
Garage extension. It says that.
What I would make, Chair, is that they're essentially removing the conservatory, which must be thermally less efficient in a built form, and replacing it with built form. There's no substantial change to the property apart from extending it down the side slightly. Seems to be entirely reasonable.
Yeah, I can't see any difficulty with it anyway. Would you agree?
Yes, street.
Application 4, household planning application, provision of hard standing following demolition of part of existing wall, and this is Amberley, 8 Hamlet Road. Mr. and Mrs. D. Rosenwald. So the demolishing, providing hard standing and the demolishing part of an existing wall. Demolishing the wall first, obviously, and then providing the hard standing.
Yeah, so
There's a photo showing that makes it much clearer.
Yeah,
That was very much clearer.
I couldn't turn it round, I must admit.
I
yeah.
turned it around, it's very clear when it's turned around. The marks on the photo are a bit all very weak.
Yes.
Helps.
There we are. That's
Yeah,
it.
you can see the bottom, there's some writing there.
there's
and
actually a wall to be removed.
it
Yeah.
so shows you the 2 lines, if you can just see it, there's 2 lines of what the part's going
Yes,
to be removed.
yeah. And it's providing hard standing, but there's no, I can't see any problem with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, move.
Parking is crucial down there.
Support, yeah. On the road parking. There is a list C. Application for advertisement consent. Number 4, illuminated fascia signs, and 5, illuminated Halford We Fit signs for Tesco store, Kangaroo Road, Haverhill. So
Well, they're
4
not already up.
fascia signs and 5
Already up,
illuminated
not
Halford signs. Yeah.
How can they
Well, it's
apply
a-
for permission if they're already up?
It's retrospective, should I imagine.
They put them up without permission, someone's complained, so they've now had to put in permission.
You can put in retrospective planning application. You can submit a retro. Go on then, in your backyard.
Yeah.
Any comments? Pat?
The only problem is retrospective is, one of these days, the council's going to say no, and they'll have to take it all down again.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
And that costs them extra money.
Let's make that today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope they do
Find
take
a
it down.
reason to object.
That's right, you've just got to find a very good reason, yeah.
Do we
Okay.
have any reason to
I
object?
think that's the one we did reject, wasn't it? Very
Yes,
overthrown.
We'll be down to the
Councillor.
option.
Do we know before we sort of support
You're
or
right.
not support whether any of the residents have complained about light pollution from the signs in their
I haven't heard.
backyards?
No, we haven't heard anything. Betty?
Have they been given chance to do that?
Sorry?
Have they been given chance to object?
They would have been notified.
Oh yes,
by
they
the
would have been
planning.
notified, yes. Absolutely.
I've looked at that, Chair, and unfortunately it's a long way from nearest housing, so that's not a reason for objection. It's facing into the car park, not
Yes,
back
right.
towards the houses. So the nearest houses are the other side of Leisure. Interesting.
Okay?
So no objection.
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a shame that we can't. Item 7, matters to report. Any councillors with any matters to report? Yes, councillor Woodley.
I'd just like to bring to the committee's attention something that was in the paper today, that because, you know, the 2031 plan that's been done, and that determines where housing, etc. can go, a lot of planners apparently, according to the paper today, are riding roughshod over councils who haven't done their plan completely properly, and building houses on agricultural and greenbelt land because there's no way that they can be stopped. So it's important that the plans are done properly by the borough. Otherwise we'll have development creep by back door.
It has been adopted. It was the absence of an adopted locality plan that was allowing people.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I think it's important that it's drawn up and it's adopted properly,
It
otherwise.
has been.
Yeah.
Any other matters? Yes.
It's just for information, really. I noticed that B&Q today, there's a big module WeBuyAnyCar.com have got a unit into the car park. I'm assuming it doesn't need planning permission because it's a temporary structure, but we haven't heard anything, but it's there.
Chair, I have raised this with planning and they are investigating. They had to go and look at it and decide.
Have you read it the borough? You mean? Yeah. You read it the borough.
I assume it was a temporary structure, it wouldn't necessarily need it,
They haven't said that yet, but that looks like the implication.
but it's there.
Right. Okay. Any others? No. Item 8, the date of the next meeting, which is the 6th of January. Meeting closed at 7:20, 7:19.